Welcome to Inside Plug, the podcast where independent creators and entrepreneurs connect and inspire. I'm your host, Devon Jones. Today on our show, we have film director Vivek Srikumar. Vivek, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Devon. How are you?
Good, I'm great. Glad to have you here. We are in season 5, and man, this season has been the biggest season that we've had so far, and we're looking forward to wrapping it up, finishing up with these episodes, and our next season is going to be even bigger. But until then, we are still here right now, and we're ready to hear your story. So Vivek, you are a film director, and being a film director, it takes a lot of different skills because you have to learn how to work with actors, you have to have that vision, and sometimes the screenplay may or may not even be yours. So with all of that comes with being a film director, when did you know that filmmaking was a career path for you?
Um, I think maybe I from uh, before maybe 14, 15 years when I was in my college, I feel most of the people are interested in watching films and many people wanted to make. So my college friends and I was still staying in a hostel. I left my home and when I was 18 and then I was with my college friends and all in a hostel. So that's where we started making some small films, very small, and I cannot tell more about it because that's very, I mean, it's very amateur if I look back. But that was the point where I figured out, okay, there is something called filmmaking, and I was a very big fan of Hollywood films from my childhood, and I am from south of India, and my our regional film industry is also very strong. But at a point when I started that, okay, I should start making movies because what I thought is I can touch life and also I can tell more stories. So I think one quote which interested me that a filmmaker lives a life of multiple people. So I don't know who told that or something, but that inspired me that I cannot live a lot of life. I can live only my life. So I thought like, okay, I will create some characters who can who can live through me. So that's why I become a filmmaker. Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that. And that is true. I believe I seen that somewhere as well. Yeah, I couldn't remember who was the person behind that. But how you mentioned you like to create characters. Could you share some of those early characters with us if you still have some?
Yeah, I think the first film I directed was for myself, but before that I was an editor. Even in Ireland, after I moved 4 years back, I mean, sorry, 3 years back, I started as an editor here, and that's what the same thing I did before 15 years because my college friend he was directing a film and I was his editor. And after a point, I started my own character. I started creating my own characters, but I feel the first character I created was also a bit of in a dark horror theme. So this guy was coming and meeting an old friend while he was traveling to his home, like from his bus stop to the home. He's meeting a guy who is his old friend, and at the end, he realizes that that it's not his real friend. He passed away. So he was talking to the ghost for last 30 minutes. So that was a dark kind of a character I wrote, and I I mean, I don't know why, but before 14, 15 years, I had a strong connection to dark characters. I was so much inspired by films like Seven and very maybe Usual Suspects and things like that because the dark characters were truly inspiring me for a long time. But now I'm changing. Like I'm getting inspired by some good, cool people.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I love that. And when you mention that character, um, so many different type of plots and scenarios kind of like popped up into her. Curious on any stories that you got that you put that character in. Um, but yeah, let's talk about that a little bit more later on. But let's jump into your projects right now. So you have this project called Grade. How did that project come about?
So I can. So as I told, I was being like I'm not a full time. I right now also I'm not a full time filmmaker, but I do films a lot. Maybe per day I kind of spend at least 2 to 3 hours on filmmaking, which is average for any filmmaker I feel like. But I have a day job where I work as a tech guy. I mean, like after my college and all, I was doing that. So for about 7, 8 years, I did my uh, corporate job, and at the time I wanted to make films, and I I was in India only that time, but I made some films there, which was fine. And I feel if I look back, I can see the flaws in it. But that's where I figured out shooting a scene, making a film, putting everything together, adding music behind it and all. Then on 2021 or 2022, I think I did my film school. I had to, that's something I cannot, I cannot forget because I had to work from Monday to Friday on my job. But it was work from home, but I had to. And on Saturdays and Sunday, I went to the film school for about 6 months. It was continuously, I was doing that. I never missed any class when I was on that film school, and I really enjoyed it. I too much enjoyed it. Then I did my first project after learning filmmaking. It's not as easy as I used to think. It's not easy. I feel everybody should have a small filmmaking knowledge to know how the characters should be placed in front of the camera, how a script, it touches all the fields of filmmaking. Then I made Grey. So Devon, the Grey was my favorite film. Kind of right now, also I feel my next project. I'm trying to beat Grey, but Grey had the biggest. I did go for eighth or ninth draft on that. It's a psychological drama written in a South Indian language. Subtitles are available, and we had a lot of challenge shooting it. I was putting my own money, and making film in India is, I feel it's more expensive than making a film in Ireland because Irish cinematographers and Irish crew have a lot of equipments, and we don't have to rent here. Like if you get the right guy, they come up with the equipments onto the set. So and they trust the projects. It's too many creative people are there in Ireland, and it's easy to. I feel like it's easy to network and get people on board to the project, but in India it was really tough. So my first project, which I say as a full-time filmmaker or something, was Grey, and that was very tough to put in place. So my wife, she was there on the film as an executive producer, and she was on the set. And we struggled a lot to make that happen. But I got audition for the actors, and the actors were really good. And I got my DOP was he's the second camera of Triple R, the Oscar award film, like the Triple R. So it was Vinod Sur. I got the best crew for that film, and also the sound designers, and the final sound mixing was done by Srank, who was also the sound mixer of Elephant Whispers, and Oscar award winning film. So the crew was amazing. And then the Grey film, when it came out, it went into a lot of Asian festivals, and it remained to be one of my best till now. I feel so. And yeah, so that's the story about Grey, and it happened maybe 2 3 years back. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And congratulations on completing the film. Um, as you mentioned, it takes a lot to, time, patience, equipment, energy, days without sleep
And people, that's
and people. Yeah, definitely. That's awesome. Congratulations again. All right. Oh, you're and just and I love that you have that for yourself. It's like all filmmakers are like that. They want to like do better than their last film, and that's just like more motivation. And it's just like I love that drive. All right, Vivek. So now let's jump into this next project titled Cinemats. How did that
yeah.
come about?
Okay, that's maybe I don't know this podcast how useful it is going to be, but I feel like if people over Ireland are listening to it, there is something called Kino in Ireland. It's like they do that for 48 hours. It's a filmmaking challenge. I just now I finished last week, and my next project, it's more about that. So what they do is on Friday evening people gather and pitch an idea. There will be too many people, and they all gather together and they make a film in 48 hours, and they screen it on the 48th hour, kind of like, for example, if you pitch on a Friday, the screening happens on Sunday, so you have to shoot on a Saturday, edit whole night or something on Sunday, and so that's where I made one film, Last Drop, which is a sci-fi, and then I made Cinemans. uh, Somehow Cinemans clicked a bit more than it has got more YouTube viewers, and it went into more festivals. It was so intense. I don't know why it worked really well. It started as a small idea into me, like two people meeting in a theater, and I wanted to try some AI elements in it. And overall, when we finished the film, I felt people were coming to me and telling that it really touched them. It was, I think it was not intentional or anything. but it really worked for everyone. That's how I made Cinemans. It's the budget of the film is nothing. It's nothing. I used to music from one music I used to listen always, and after that there is a copyright problem. Like I cannot use those music. So I emailed that composer with this film, and I told him I used this music. If you want, I can pay for it because I don't think the film will work with any other music. His name is Joel Sunny. People listen is Illuminary and all. It's very famous. Like he's a very big composer. And then he just gone through it and he told this video looks very cool, so I will remove the copyright from it. So he removed the copyright from it. So I really didn't have to spend any money on that film, and everybody was on Kino. So the Kino ticket, which I think maybe 30-35 euros, was the only expense I had for Cinemans, and I'm really proud for that film. I don't know, it's a small music video kind of a film, but it really worked.
That's awesome. And like, all right, so many questions. All right, so the first one, with that 48-hour time frame that you guys have you been at one of those before, or is that was your first time there?
No, I think I went there a lot, Devon. So that's where I have to thank them, and I have to thank how I ended up there because too many things I did there. So I started there was a 10 days challenge which they did on 2023, and I was there, and I met a lot of people over Europe and US and everywhere. There were too many people on that time. So I worked as an editor for, I feel, 3 or 4 projects. And then I come to know uh, it's very different. The Indian style of filmmaking, the European style of filmmaking, the American style of filmmaking, it's all very, very different. And Asians are different. And entertaining a whole world together, it's not easy. Even I feel tough right now also. There are some moments when I feel maybe I don't know whether this scene works. So but that time when I was with a lot of filmmakers, when I was editing their films, I figured out how they are approaching their own films, and that helped me. And then I made my first film called The Last Rock. That's my kind of a big film which I made first in Dublin. Before that I did a film on Kino itself, but that was okay. Like it was good, but I didn't get that response well. But I did a sci-fi film in that 10th day on a faster Kino, and then I that one was well. And then after a year, I mean last year, I went to this Kino 3 days again. So that Cineman's Kino was not my first one. I can say that it may be third or something. So that's good. I like anyone who wants to be a filmmaker can, and it's open. Like this year, they just finished the 10 days one maybe on last weekend, and there were too many people, and it was amazing. Like there were a lot of people from all around the world, and that's where I made my next films. Half of my next film.
Awesome. That's awesome. Just because like developing that skill set it helps, in the long run, you're able to, think of a film to make in 48 hours, and you have the capability. In fact, you have the experience by doing that with the film. And then even without you having intention to make an impact, you made an impact. Now it's kind of like you develop something that would there be anything that you say that you gained from that experience that you've included in your, you know, skills already that you already have?
Uh, it's learning, Devon. It's every day is a learning. Like every day is a learning. And with Kino, it's very hectic. So after Kino, I'm most probably I should not be doing a film in Kino, but I will go to Kino, help people. But I don't think I will pitch. The reason is it's not because I don't want to. It's because it's hectic for me personally. Because last year I did Irish Baba. We kind of did it on a bigger production scale, where we had good production designers behind it. We had a good production managers and set designers, makeup artists, and everything. But through Kino, it is very difficult to find. So, and even if you find someone, they also will be involved in multiple projects. It is a bit challenging, and at the same time there are a lot of films which worked really well. Some Kino films went into big festivals in over all around Europe also. So I cannot. It's my way of doing. Like I feel it's a bit tough for me, And that's the challenge I felt. Like you cannot have a proper production design team or complete bigger as a even independent filmmaking. We need to have some people. I realized it. Like we need to have some basic people on board in the project so they look good on the camera, and the quality of the film changes. The sound design and the color, those things is very tough to do on a kino. So that's what I learned in that. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. All right, so for all our Irish listeners, go out there and check out Kino, check out that event and join it. And we would love to hear the projects that you create. All right, Vivek, let's stay on track here. This next project that we have, Cycle of Connection. What can you share about that with us?
Yeah, that's not made of a kino. So after Cinemans, maybe before Cinemans, I started doing some projects outside of like kino and all. Like my network grew. Like I knew more people, more good actors, and more. So I constantly stick with few of my DOPs. But they are also very busy. So there are times where I had to switch DOPs. But Cycle of Connection is very close to my heart because I'm from South. Like I'm from India, and we have a lot of action films. So action is my core. I love to do thrillers and action with a storytelling. So this one was came up as a something an initiative called Dublin Filmmakers. So there are a lot of filmmakers we meet on mostly on Mondays, and also they initiated an anthology project. So that's where I pitched it, but now I kind of took it outside so that I can send to more festivals. The plan was to have a film where a character enters into the lift, elevator pitch like that. So he enters into the lift and one of the character comes out of the lift. So the film starts on a lift and ends on a lift, but there are a lot of action and things going on. And I just got the first submission. I mean, like my first selection from my first submission to that film on the Underground Film Festival, which is in Dublin next week. I mean, on 7th and 8th of September. So Cycle of Connection is an action film, and the action choreography done by Philip Conran, who's a very big stunt coordinator and an amazing guy who's based in Dublin. And the DOP was Ismail Diarra. Till I have worked with too many cinematographers till now. Like I think my projects change and the style of cinematography changes. So and Ismail is I think for action, I haven't seen anyone better doing cinematography than Ismail. He's so flexible and he's so fast. It was amazing to have him on board. So this film and the music is composed by Yuri Radko, who is from Ukraine. So I got some people all around Europe to get in together to have this film made. Yeah, so it's my first action film because the action is the toughest. Once I was on set, that's where we figured it out. It's not easy, Devon. The thing is, there is a lot of choreography behind it. I really understood how tough it was to make Indian films that moment, because Indian films has too many action which are not required. Also, sometimes they put action to. It's a stereotypical and historical attitude of Indian films. For the last 40, 50 years, there are action scene and song sequence in an Indian film. So they keep it. They need it. But it's not easy because when I was on set, the rehearsal for a 1 minute of action, the people need to prepare for maybe 2 to 3 hours. So it's not an easy thing. And then getting the shot, editing it, that was a very crazy experience. But I feel I pulled the film well. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that. And congratulations. I believe you say you got a selection, an official selection for this project.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Um, Vivek, so can you share with us where can people find some of your projects that you already have out there?
I mean, I have a website, so it's viveksrikumar.com, like my full name.com. So if you go into it, all my films which I have released into the platforms are available on there, and like it links to the YouTube channel. Today I had a discussion with a person who is planning to create a platform for me, like Netflix and all, but I think I'm not doing it because I don't have enough viewers yet. Like my followers are less, and that's I like doing what I'm doing. So the even the platform who are the promoters, they were telling me that have a good marketing in place, so I get more reach and all, and then we can get things. So that's main problem I feel like all the independent filmmakers face, because we don't have enough viewers at times. The festivals are the only place which we enter our things to, um, and that's very small. That's very small. And after that, we get a bit stopped. Yeah, but we won't stop. We'll keep doing it.
Exactly. Vivek, you're at the right place because that's what we do here. Remember, everyone, we connect and inspire. So connect with Vivek. Check out that website. Follow him. Let's get those numbers up. All right. So now let's jump into this next project. This is a more recent project. Irish?
Yeah, it's called Irish and Irish Baba. I did two films which are a uh, little bit connected to Ireland and India. So that's one film I produced, which is called Irish, which is directed by my friend Tom. So it was a very good idea. The film was so good. It's about a Indian man who's coming to Ireland and he's trying to be Irish, which is impossible, I feel like. But anyway, he was trying to do that. So from it's a very funny film. It was written well. And at the moment when he told me that, I was like, I would like to produce this film. So I co-produced with him. Like under my Dreamlog Productions, we are trying to promote it and send it. Even that also got into festivals and well, it's going well. So that's one film. And the next one is also a little bit related to Irish and Indian culture, which is called Irish Baba. So that's about a Indian man. Sorry, it's about an Irishman who is conning people as an Indian guru. It's also a funny script. So it's written by Sri. She is a Indian actress based in Ireland. So she wrote the story, and it was also very interesting. But she was looking for a director, by the way. So I told like I will direct it, and I co-produced that film also because I'm proud about it because there are too many Indian Irish culture similarities, and we have to. I mean, whenever I get chance, I put my effort to show that integration. And also, maybe next year, I'm trying to. I think this year was too much. I was involved on that, so maybe next year I'm planning to have a subject where I can only tell a story of Ireland. I need to try how I am good at it. So maybe I'm trying to write a subject where we are dealing with an Irish history element. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. I love that. All right. So now let's jump into this one. You said you wanted to share a bit about it. It's titled She.
Yes. That is now this year's my main focus is on this film. So we did on Kino there was a 3 days Kino, but I did go this Kino with preparation, and I made my first part of that film with the huge cast and a very strong crew. It was the DOP is called Fernando Munoz, so he's from Mexico. Very very nice. He is very good in his visual storytelling, and we did make that film in it was intense. Like we started shoot on Friday night around 8 p.m. We aimed, but we started at 10 p.m. and then it went till maybe 1:15, and that was one scene. And on the next day morning, we hit into the Ardgillen Castle, which is we shot a scene in Castle, and another one in a cafe. So on the next day, we shot. Our shoot started around 9:30 a.m. and it went till 12:30 midnight, and I got all the footage ready. And my editor, who is Zoe, she's the editor of Irish, also very good editor. So she was, we were sitting together and we were trying to edit, but the sleep was too much. Like I didn't sleep for 3-4 hours. But somehow on the next day we finished the film and we screened that what we shot on that Kino screening event, which was very very well received. And there is a little bit pressure on me to finish it on a second, but it's about two friends, but on a different way. They are searching for a woman, a particular lady, and that's the title of the film. It's called She, which is a bit connected with Irish history of. Uh, there is something called Banshee, which is a bit like there is the banshee is something which is mentioned on the Irish folklores. So I'm kind of exploring that with a bit of South Indian elements, which I gone through, like witches and folklores and the roots and woods, the forest. These things are very common for any human history. So I'm integrating all the elements together to the world, so that they see that common root in them. Like it's all about woods and folklores. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. I love it. You have so many great projects, and we can't wait to see all of them out there. Remember, everyone, we're gonna put that link in the description. Follow Vivek, check out these projects, and stay connected. All right, Vivek, we're at that part of the episode where I ask the question to all the guests. What is a book, a TV show, or a film that you recommend to an inspiring film director?
Mm, I think there are too many books which I read which really, really inspired me. But recently, I was inspired by book called Ikigai, which is my recent one. And uh, but I think more than that, I would prefer people uh, read any other fiction. I'm a fan of fiction, but the Ikigai is something which I read very recently. That's why I was just telling about that book. I have to go through my book. Like all the recent books I read, I'm more into uh, getting my mind into control. So, yeah. And maybe for films, there are too many recommendations I have. But I prefer, uh, I love, uh, I think I love Anbe Shivam, which is a South Indian film, which is it's something which I stick on to, which is called mm God, love is God. That is what it means. It's about uh, like I can say that it is bit for non-believers, but at the same time it shows that more than God there is something which is love. So if the love is God, that's the content of that film. It's something which inspire me always, you know. So my characters, where whatever I write, I want to show a unity, that there should be love, which is the only thing which can connect all of us together as a human being. So I think that helps me also. So that film, I never liked it when I saw it 20 years back. It was very boring. The beginning is good, but after that it's a bit boring. But nowadays, it's my go-to film. I feel so overwhelmed watching that. Yes, and the series is Night Of. Uh, that is by Riz Ahmed. So uh, all the other series, there are too many good series, but Riz Ahmed starred Night Of is I watched it 4 years back when the COVID was hit. It really affected me, and yeah, that's it.
Awesome, awesome. All right, everyone. Remember, we're here every Tuesday, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on YouTube, Spotify, Red Circle. All those are the platforms that host podcasts. Vivek, thank you for showing up today and sharing your story with us.
Thanks a lot, Devon. Thanks a million.
All right, everyone. Remember, stay inspired and keep creating. Inside Plug, signing out.